Hey guys, it's Allie with Imperfect Pages, and I thought I would bring you guys my used 2022 collection of journals. Yeah, I don't know. I thought I would just share the journals that I've used this year and tell you a little bit about them, how long they lasted me, all that fun stuff. I do have quite the stack here, and I'm going to do my best to show you guys the journals as best as I can. It looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then like a partially used one, which I will explain further. I'm sorry guys, apparently Luna's gonna just hang out in the video. This giant brick monstrosity of a book was the one I started the very first of the year. One of my goals in 2022 was to fill this 600-page sketchbook. I had wanted to use it as a journal. I had seen someone else on YouTube do it last year, and I was feeling very inspired to fill it. And I will say I made it about 3.5 months into this journal, which would be about almost 200 pages in, and I dipped out because it was just, as you can see, it's huge. It's literally like, it weighs so much. It's ginormous. It's bigger than my head. It was too difficult to work with, and I was in school at the time for most of the year. Actually, I am working on my bachelor's degree, and as much as I loved working in this, it was just too much to try to manage while also being a student and balancing life and all of that. But I did collage the inside cover a little bit. I don't know, I could do a video in the future about this, kind of what I started and why I abandoned it. I could do a video on this if you guys would like. Like I said, I made it about 200 pages in and just had to dip out. I would like to return to it again someday, eventually, but I'll have to be in a very specific mindset for that. That was my first one. Like I said, that one I started at the beginning of January. I started January 1st, and then I worked in it until about mid-March. I'm gonna have to keep shifting because the sun is shifting, and I'm sorry, the shadow's kind of weird. You can see the tripod shadow, but I caught the sunlight coming in, and I just thought it was too nice to pass up on. This one I used as a kind of like a brain dump notebook as I was working in the big 600-page one. Obviously, I couldn't carry that one places with me, and I have to have a notebook or place to brain dump when I'm going to work and when I'm running errands and at doctor's appointments and stuff. So that was this one. This one lasted from January 3rd through about, well, it looks like my last entry in here was March 27th. So this one lasted until about the end of March as well, which is kind of about when I abandoned the big 600-page book. This one was it was mostly just a bunch of like lists and random jotting down information. You know, I've just got like sticky notes and lists, like to-do lists and stuff. So yeah, that's what this journal was. There is about 15 pages at the back that aren't filled. I'll eventually probably take the rest of the paper that's unused in here and use it for like pen pal lettering and stuff. Let me get a drink. I have my holiday Starbucks creme brulee decaf because it is in the afternoon, and if I drink caffeine after like 1 o'clock, I can't sleep. So we're having a decaf coffee here. And setting that up in the window so that it's out of the way. I'll show you guys the next journal. Well, another journal that I was using at the same time as the big sketchbook and the little notebook was this art journal. It's a composition book, and it's just a very messy, collage-y kind of notebook. Let me see. Yeah, there's just a bunch of like magazine clippings and watercolor and what else is in here that I can share? Just some like random like painty kind of pages. And I did a flip through of this on my channel, so I won't go into, you know, detail about it. I started this February 9th, and then I didn't write an end. Oh yeah, I did. I ended it May 31st. So it lasted me March, April, May, about 3 months. And this was just kind of a fun place to kind of use up some of my extra magazine collage pieces and use like acrylic paints and watercolor and that kind of stuff. So that one was there. That was my 3rd journal of the year, which I don't know if I can count the big 600-page journal. That one should have been, if I would have filled it, it would have been my, I know I wrote down what number journal it would have been, somewhere in here. And I just can't. It would have been my 72nd journal if I would have filled it. And part of me wishes I could have stuck to it the entire year, but it just, it didn't fit my life, what I needed from journaling at the time. And as you can see by my next journal, I needed something much smaller. This one is very small in comparison to the 600-page journal. This would have been my 4th journal of the year, if you count the 600-page one. And this one I used from March 28th through the end of May. This one, I started a fresh journal the 1st of June. So this one lasted me about 2-ish months. And this journal is so valuable to me because there were a lot of good memories in here. I started dating my current partner in this journal, so all of our like first dates and first experiences and stuff were in here. You know, meeting each other's families and all of that good stuff was in here. I really took off in my tarot readings and stuff in this journal, and in this journal, my writing style changed from like the daily documenting to more of a diving deeper into the like different levels of my like emotions and thought processes and all of that stuff, because there was just a lot of new things going on in my life, but also going through some like hard stuff as well. My mental health has been kind of on a roller coaster this year, and it has really reflected in my journals, which is a great thing to be able to look back on. If you're looking for a reason to keep a journal, keep it for the fact that you'll be able to look back and see where your mind was at 6 months ago or a year ago, and that your mindset right now is temporary. Things can always change, whether it be for better or worse or whatever. Keep a journal. You'll thank yourself later for it. But yes, this journal I used until the end of May. This one just came from Barnes & Noble. It was a like $8 journal, hardcover. The paper was nice enough. It held watercolor pretty well. Yeah, here's a, sometimes I wish I would go through my journals sooner, and like before I start filming, I wish I would go through them and mark up pages that I can show instead of just trying to flip through when I get a chance. Like here's a page I can show, and this is watercolor on this side, and then I just print photos on copy paper or on sticker paper to add them into my journals, added stickers, washi, the works. So there was that one. That would have been, like I said, my 4th journal of the year. And then starting June 1st, I started this chunky boy. It just is so thick. It was a journal from Target. I think it had 200 pages. Almost every single page in here is used, minus maybe 5 pages that are blank that I have stuff to put on them. I just haven't actually gone in and put stuff in them. So I started this June 1st, and then it lasted me through July 31st. So this lasted me 2 months. This big, ginormous, chunky journal lasted me 2 months. It baffled me. But I did have my birthday, both of my parents' birthdays, vacation, like a weekend trip with my partner, and then a hiking day trip with my aunt and my little cousin in here. So there was a lot of really good memories in here. Unfortunately, I did have a falling out with a friend while I was in this journal. So there's about 10 pages of just me having an absolute emotional breakdown, and kind of grieving that relationship in here. So it is mostly good stuff, but there is some hard stuff in here as well. And, you know, that's kind of the interesting part about journals, is that, you know, they can hold really good memories and really good times, but then there's also the times where they are here as a sort of comfort, or a confidant to, you know, turn to when we're feeling out of place. This is a watercolor page that I did in here just to kind of, I did abstract paintings to kind of represent how I was feeling, so the different colors just were kind of the energies and emotions that I was feeling. I also had COVID while I was working in this journal, so I did have some extra time, had about a week's worth of time off work that I was spending a lot of time just writing and reflecting. I also did my summer journal tag in this journal, so if you follow me on Instagram, I did a 7-day, I think it was 7 days worth of journal prompts, and that was during the span of this journal too. So yes, that was my 5th one for the year. During the course of time when I was using this, when I got towards the end and it was starting to get too bulky to carry back and forth to work, I picked up this one, which was a journal I had started at the end of last year actually, and I had filled about, I don't know, 10 pages in the beginning, maybe, like, you know, just one signature at the end of 2021. And I had intended to carry this back and forth to work while I was using the big 600-page journal, but then I ended up getting the spiral one and that didn't happen. So I filled this one in the month of July. Like I said, I was going through that falling out with a friend, and I had a lot of just rambling and grieving that needed to get out. But also I did use it for stuff like this, just some simple journaling, like doodly stuff. But also some of it is like this, where it's just text. You know, there's, I don't know. It's just, there was a lot going on in here. Yeah, this one's not really the most pleasant to pick back up and reread, just because there was a lot of heavy emotions in here. This is probably one that will go in my archives of journals that I don't revisit often. Just because the mindset I was in when I was writing this is not one that I want to revisit. So it would be cathartic to just put this one aside, let it rest, let it have its peace, and move forward with it. So this was journal number 6 of this year. Then we moved into this one. It's a DNIC notebook. This one, I forgot to mention, is just a tiny Exceed pocket journal from Walmart. I think it cost me like $2. I've had it forever. This one I used from August 1st through August 31st. It lasted me exactly a month. I have one page at the back that doesn't have any writing on it. So I mean, I used every single page in here. And I can't really show anything that's in here because it is personal. But this one was mostly writing. Again, still kind of grieving that relationship. I was working through some burnout feelings about school and questioning my career choice and everything. But I was also like really sick after having COVID. I was pretty much sick for like 2 months. I just didn't feel well. So I didn't have a lot of energy to do like fancy decorative journaling. So that's where this one kind of came in, as just mostly writing. And I just realized I have forgotten a journal. Let me grab that. Hang on just a second. Okay guys, I'm back. Sorry. The natural light is shifting a little further, so I'm going to try to wrap up these last couple journals real quick here before I lose daylight. So yeah, this was journal number 7. This was journal number 7 for the year, which led into number 8. And this one is a composition notebook again. This was really a good sized journal for me this year. Look how chunky that is. It blows me away. If the camera falls over, my kitten is currently sniffing it, so that is why it's a little shaky. But this one lasted me from September 1st through October 31st. So it lasted me 2 months. That's kind of the average, was a month or 2 months in each journal. I've been doing a lot of just stream of consciousness writing and brain dumping, kind of processing a lot this year. So I've just been flying through notebooks, it feels like. But yes, this one is the one Heather Madden decorated for me. I loved it. I really felt very comfortable and at home in this notebook. There were a lot of good days in this book. My mental health was definitely in a slump in this one and in this one. But by the time I got to this one, I was starting to overcome some stuff. A lot of days were still a struggle, but it was getting easier for a while. So this journal, it feels good to look back at this one. I did a lot of painting and stuff in here as well, because composition books just hold paint, craft paint, and watercolor really well. I did some collaging and stuff, but then, you know, I also did have a lot of writing. So this journal was good. This one's definitely one that I'll flip back to frequently. So this one will definitely go on my bookshelf eventually. I have to rearrange my bookshelf to be able to fit the journals that I would like to put on there. So yes, this was journal 8, which leads me into this composition book, which is the one I'm currently using. I've done a couple videos on this already, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but this one I started November 1st, and I'm hoping it will carry me through the rest of the year. At least that's the plan. I think it will. It has about 80 pages left to fill, so I definitely think it's reasonable that it will last me the rest of the year. If I run out of pages, I'll just write on scrap paper and either tip them in or just stick them in an envelope in the back. That way I can start fresh in the new year. So this was journal number 9. So this is the 9th one of the year. And then I'm throwing this one in here because I have been using this since March. My 1 line a day journal. I have used it almost every day, or at least every few days. I'll go through and fill it out for the days that I miss. And I'm really proud of myself for keeping up on this one. It's very tiny. That 1 sentence a day is very, it's a very achievable goal to just sit down. I jot down a quick sentence at night before I go to bed. This just sits on my nightside table, And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing in 5 years this being full and each year being able to reflect on where I was a year ago. So yeah, 10 journals for the year. That's actually fairly average for me. The past 2 or 3 years, I've filled about 9 to 10 journals each year. And these do not include my work journals. I am on my second work journal of the year. And those I'm not really going to count because they're strictly work-based information. So I don't really count them as, you know, as my personal journals. So yeah, I'm really hoping that 2023 will be a good writing year as well. I don't really have any specific plans for 2023 yet. I'm pondering some ideas, maybe thinking about using some of my old, like half-filled and abandoned journals, because I have some that I decorated the covers really nice with collage, and then I used about, 20, 30 pages and ditched them. So I'm thinking about maybe going back to those. I've also thought about using composition books again this year. I've also thought about using pocket-sized notebooks this year. My journaling style is going to be whatever works for me next year. I am going back to school starting in January after taking a few terms off. So that will change my journaling time and style a little bit. So we'll see kind of what happens with that. The nice thing about journaling for me is I don't set any rules for myself. I let it be whatever I need it to be at the time. And, if that means I work in a composition book for 3 weeks and I decide, that's not really cutting it, I'm going to stick to a pocket-sized journal that I can throw in my work bag and write, 2 sentences every day, just something to get the words out of my brain and onto paper, then that's fine. If it turns out that I'm going to, use giant, composition notebook size journals all year, great. If I decide to pick up that 600-page journal again this year, great. We'll just see what 2023 brings. I have a feeling it's going to be a better year than what 2022 has been. Fingers crossed. So yeah, we'll see. How many journals did you guys fill up in 2022? Let me know in the comments. And if you have journaling plans for 2023, put those in the comments too. I'd love to hear them. Sheldon says hi. Shall we? Sheldon. Yes. I think now you guys have probably seen all of my pets if you've watched all of my videos. Or, at least a handful of them. I think all of my pets have made an appearance now, which is funny to me. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys are going to do for 2023. If you have goals, whether they're journaling goals, life goals, whatever kind of goals, if you want to share them, definitely feel free. Yeah, that'll be, exciting to see what next year brings. I'm sorry this was kind of rambly. I didn't make a plan for this video. I just thought I'd break out my journals from the year and talk about them, and I hope you guys liked it. So I will catch you in the next video. Bye.